Hello students, welcome to Hydrocarbon series in which I am covering alkanes, the complete chapter in a very detailed and simple way. In my previous video, I have explained you the introduction of alkanes. In this video, we are going to cover a very important topic, that is nomenclature of alkane, wherein I will be explaining you different rules to write down the IUPAC name as well as common name. So let's start with the topic IUPAC. Now in IUPAC already we have studied a few rules, but that was very simple rules we have studied for simple structures. Okay, all the structures which we studied till now were very simple and small structures. But what if we have a longer chain? In that chain there are different branching, then which chain to select, how to write down the naming, which chain not to select, what if there is a tie, everything we are going to study in this lecture. Okay, now let us start. The first rule is, whenever you come across a compound given to you and you need to write down the IUPAC, always select the longest chain of the carbon atoms. Definitely in the longest chain, there should be the presence of carbon atom. I mean to say, it can be straight chain or it can be zigzag. Okay, like this also it can be, but it can never be like this from your, then again come back and this. No, this is basically what? This is basically bridging. Okay. So there should not be breaking anywhere. It should be continuous. It should not be non-continuous. It should be what? It should be a continuous structure. Then whichever is the longest chain, you are going to write it down that as the parent chain, okay, based on the word root. If it is 2 carbon, then eth, then 5 carbon, pent, okay, this everything again we have done it. Coming to the longest chain may be straight or branch, but it must be continuous. Coming to the next one, select more number of a branched chain. Now I have, if suppose I have the chain which is containing more number of branch, so I'm going to select that chain. Okay, this we are going to discuss while taking each and every example. Now just remember the rules. Coming to the side chain or we can also call it as substituent. So whichever is the longest chain, you immediately put a box to it. And apart from this chain, if any branching is present, then that branching, it becomes what? Side chain, or we call it as a substituent. Okay. And the next one is when more than same substituents are present. For example, if methyl group is present more than one, more than thrice, okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to use the suffixes like di, tri, etc. If different substituents are present, then you're going to name alphabetically. Okay. Let us have a look on now the formula. This formula already we have discussed in the previous lecture. First, you are going to write down the prefix. Okay. Now the prefix is nothing but it is the substituent. Then you're going to write down the word root. Then comes the parent suffix. Okay, it is the primary suffix. Okay, for alkane. Now coming to the example, the very first one is we are going to select the longest chain. Now longest chain, as I said, you are going to select that chain which contains more number of carbon atoms. So if I look into the straight chain, definitely I can see that there is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm going to select which chain? I'm going to select this chain. Okay, the straight chain. So immediately you're going to take pencil and put a box like this so that it becomes easy for you to write down the naming. Now after this, you're going to start numbering. Okay. Now numbering, I'm going to start either from left to right or right to left. Now, if I start from left to right, suppose this is my chain. I'm just writing it here roughly. If I start from left to right, over here, I have 1. Okay. I have 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. On this second carbon, I have branching. Okay. The methyl group. I'm talking about this group. Okay. This is on the second carbon. If I go from left to right. If I'm going from right to left, so I'll write it down 1, then 2, 3, and then 4. So the methyl group, it is coming on the third position, which is the larger one. Okay, the lowest numbering is the second position. So which direction I'm going to select? I'm going to select from left to right. Okay, so the correct direction is left to right. So immediately I'm going to use pencil. So you number the carbon atom, not the hydrogen. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the naming in this case will be 2. Okay, what we are going to write down? We are going to write down the prefix first. Prefix means the substituent you are going to write down. And before the substituent, we are going to write down the position of the substituent. So this will be 2. On the second position, there is a methyl group. So 2 methyl. And then the parent is what? The parent is butane. Okay, the word root will be the word root. And then the primary suffix will be A and E, because all the carbon atom, they contain single bond. Okay, so this is the IUPAC name of the given structure. Coming to the second one now. The second one, same way we are going to do. The second one, suppose if I select the longest chain. Now over here, the longest chain is straight chain. Suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me check if any other chain is also present which contains more number of carbon atom, more than 6. Okay, so I can see
this chain. I'm talking about this chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yes, there is a straight chain. Then there is this one chain. Okay, I'm talking about this one. Okay, this chain is also possible. It contains 6 carbon again. Then which chain is present? Okay, this one. So always remember, you write down all the possibilities first. Okay, this chain we can also consider. So let us count the number of carbon. This is 6 carbon, then 6 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I cannot select this chain because it is less than 6. Okay, I need to check whether we are getting more than 6 carbon containing chain. Then okay, that's it. This chain is also possible, but it is containing 3 carbon. Okay, so all the possibilities we have written. Now definitely there is what? There is a tie between these two. Whenever there is a tie, then you are going to select that chain which contains more number of branching. This rule also we have studied. I repeat, the longest chain, you are going to select that chain which contains more number of substituents. Let us have a look on the substituent. If I am selecting the straight chain as the longest chain, I get one branching over here and one branching over here. Right? Then suppose if I select this particular chain, then I am getting the branching over here and here. That means again two branchings we are getting in both the cases, right? So if two branchings are present, then definitely again there is a tie, and it is always easier to go for straight chain. Whenever there is tie from all the possible way, better go for straight chain. So I'm going to put a box to the straight chain. Okay, the longest chain is this one. So I'm going to put a box. Now comes the numbering. Now again, this is the longest chain. Now the numbering, if I go from left to right, so 1, then second carbon, then third carbon, then fourth, 5, and 6. And then on the second carbon, there is CH3 branching. And on the fourth carbon, there is branching, 2 carbon atoms. Okay, so the position is 2 and 4. Suppose if I go from right to left, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the position is what? 2 and 4. And from the other side, it is 3 and 5. So definitely I'm going to select 2 and 4. That means the direction, it should be what? Left to right. Okay. Now quickly I'm going to write down the numbering. So this will be 1, then second carbon, then 3, then 4, 5, and 6. Now if I look into the second position, it is methyl. Okay, this is methyl. And the fourth position, it is ethyl. So between methyl and ethyl, which one we are going to write down? Can anyone tell me, or can anyone just quickly write it down in your notebook? Yes, definitely it will be ethyl group first. Why ethyl? Because alphabetically ethyl comes first. Though it is getting the fourth position, the higher position, no need to worry about it. Okay, still you are going to write down ethyl group first. So I will be writing it as a 4, then the first letter capital, hyphen between a number and a letter, 4 ethyl. Then on the second position, it is 2 methyl. As I said, between a number and a letter, wherever you come across a number and a letter, put hyphen. So 4 ethyl, 2 methyl, and then the parent will be hexane. Okay, because 6 carbon, so it is hex, and then the suffix will be ane because of single bond. So if you just break down the concept into steps, okay, everything will become very easy. So go step by step. Coming to the third one, similarly, now I'm going little fast so that you can also join with me. Copy down the question quickly and then start solving with me. And after solving the answer, you just cross check whether I have written it correctly. Still, if you have any doubt with the rules, go back to the video, right from the start, and then you can proceed with this one. Okay. So definitely the third one I can select as the straight chain as the longest chain, because from all possible ways, the straight chain is getting the highest number of carbon. Then coming to the position, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. If I look into from left to right and right to left, CH3 groups, I'm getting it on the same position. So again, there is a tie. Then need not have to worry. You can select any one direction. Okay. Now over here, I have methyl groups, 2 methyl groups present. So definitely I'm going to write down the position of both the methyl groups. First position is 2. The second position is 3. Already in my previous videos, I have discussed many a times, whenever you come across 2 numbers, then put comma between 2 numbers and a dash between a number and a letter. So it becomes a 2, 3. And then since 2 groups are present, so this will be dimethyl. And then the word root will be but because 4 carbon. And the suffix becomes ane because a single bond. Okay. Coming to the fourth question. Now the fourth question, quickly select the longest chain. Now in this case, I can see that the longest chain. Okay. Now everything about the longest chain already I have explained you. You can go back to my video. You can watch from the start. So this is the longest chain. Okay. Always use pencil to put this box for a longest chain, then things will become very easy for you. Then we will start numbering. The numbering will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I can see that on the third position, there is what? Ethyl group. So put 3 dash or hyphen, ethyl, and then hexane. Coming to the fifth question. Now the fifth question is again of the similar type. Now for the fifth question, I'm going to select the longest chain. Now the fifth one is having the longest chain as like this. Okay. This will be my longest chain. If you have any difficulty with any of the question, you can just write it down in the comment box or you can DM me. I'll help you out with the solution in more detailed and easier way. Now, this is the longest chain. Numbering I'm going to start with is definitely from right to left because CH3, it is more and more towards the right hand side. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the naming will be, in this case, the naming is on the second carbon atom, I can see there is what? 2 methyl group, and on the fourth carbon, there is 1 methyl group. So in all 3 methyl groups, so for the second one, 2 methyl groups are attached on the second carbon. So for each methyl group, I'm going to write down the position. That means twice you're going to write down 2. Okay, no matter the same number is repeated, you're going to write down 2 times 2 because 2 methyl groups are present. If it was a 3 methyl groups on the same carbon, then you are going to write down the same position 3 times. Same with 4 substituents or the 4 methyl group on the same carbon, then you are going to keep on repeating as many times the substituent is present. Over here, methyl is 2, so I have written 2, 2. And then the fourth one also I'm going to write down together because all the groups are methyl group only. Okay, the same group is present. So 2, 2, 4, since 3 groups are present, so I will write down tri. And then which group is present? Methyl. 6 means the word root hex, and the suffix is ANE because it is single bond. Okay, so as we move ahead, now the structures are becoming little more branched, a little more complex. So how to write down the naming, everything it is similar way. Okay, only thing is you need to break it down into parts. Coming to now the session. Now again in the sixth question, similar way we are going to do. The very first thing is we are going to select the longest chain. As you can see, the longest chain is again the straight chain. Already I have discussed all the rules, how to select the chain. You can first go through my video. Okay, you can watch from the beginning. Now over here, again there are 2 substituents present. Methyl group, 2 methyl group, and 1 ethyl group, right? So the numbering, I can either go from left to right or right to left. If I'm going from left to right, the position I'm going to get is 1, then on the second, then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So on the second position, I get 2 substituents present, and on the fifth position, 1 substituent is present. Okay. And then if I go from right to left, I'm going to get the position as third position and sixth position. So definitely I'm going to select 2 and 5. That is from left to right. Okay. So I'm going to start numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now coming to the substituents, which all substituents are present, students? The first one is methyl group, 2 methyl group, and then on the fifth position we have what? We have a ethyl group, right? So ethyl and methyl, among these two, which one we will be writing alphabetically? Definitely it will be ethyl. Do not get confused with dimethyl because many students ask me, ma'am, we have 2 substituents, dimethyl and the other one is ethyl. So why not to count this D? And if I count D, then definitely it should be written first alphabetically. Always remember, while counting the substituents alphabetically or considering it alphabetically, you are not going to count the prefixes like di, tri, tetra or iso, neo. Okay? Only the word root should be written alphabetically. And the word root is meth and eth. So between eth and meth, definitely E I will be writing first. Okay? And then the position of ethyl is E, the ethyl is fifth position. No matter if it is getting lower, higher numbering, fine, no problem. Okay. Still you're going to what? Still you're going to write it down it first. Clear? So earlier also we had written over here, as you can see, the fourth position was written first and then the lower one. So while naming, you're going to always name it alphabetically, and while numbering, it should be the lowest numbering. So on the fifth position, we have ethyl, and on the second position, 2 times I'm going to write down 2 because I have a dimethyl. The word root is total 7 carbon present in the longest chain. So the word root is hept, and then the suffix is ANE. Clear? Coming to the last one, which is more branched structure. So again, very first thing is I'm going to select the longest chain, which is again a straight chain. Remember, it is not necessary that every time you will come across the straight chain as the longest chain. No, you need to check all the possible ways. Already I have explained you in detail in the start of the lecture. So that is the reason why I'm going little fast. Okay. Now coming to apart from this chain, whatever we have, that is nothing but the substituent. So this is the substituent present. In the substituent also there is branching. So what we can do is, again, there is what? A parent and a branch. That is the substituent. Okay. So over here, I can number it as 1, 2, 3. So I'm selecting again this as the parent. Okay. In the substituent also there is a parent because it is highly branched. And why only this carbon or with this chain? So the carbon, this carbon is attached to the longest chain. So I need to consider this carbon. I need to count this carbon in the chain. Okay, so I have selected the 1, 2, 3. This as the longest chain for the branching. Now how to start numbering? Definitely from both the ways I am getting the same position. Okay, so I can proceed with any one direction. Suppose if I am writing it in this way. So on the fifth position, I have this entire branching. So I will write it down as fifth position, put a dash, and entire naming for the branching should be written in the bracket. Okay. And then over here in the bracket, I can write it down as 1, 2, 3, propyl. So this 3, whatever I have written, that is a parent, not propane. It is propyl because it is not a complete structure. It is a branched structure. And to this propyl, I have two substituents, these two, which are present on first and second position. Okay, so I'll just erase out this thing and I'll rewrite. So it is 1, 2, and then further, I will write it down as dimethyl. Okay, 1, 2, dimethyl, and 3 carbon means it is propyl. Close the bracket because everything we have written it for the substituent. Now you write down the parent. Okay, the parent that is based on the longest chain. So total 6 carbon, hex, and finally ANE. So this is the entire naming for the complex structure or the branched structure. Okay, after this lecture, I am sure that you will be able to solve any such type of questions, okay, without making mistake. So keep watching.
I hope students you enjoyed this video. You understood the basic concept for writing the nomenclature for alkanes. In my next video, I'm going to explain a very super trick to write down the number of isomers. So keep watching till the end. I'll see